This morning, I woke up, was ready to drive, ready to go, and my tire was low again. And this is like the second day in a row. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's a problem. So let me go check it out. I actually just wanted to talk about the expenses and what it takes to be a Spark driver, because a lot of people want to do it and then they end up quitting about maybe a couple months in because they're like, man, this is costing too much. Let's go over the cost and expenses. So first off, foremost, if you don't have a car, if you have a car, make sure that you factor in your car payment. Then you got to factor in car insurance, and then you have to factor in the registration every single year, assuming you do this for the long term. Ideally, me personally, I go to Walmart for the auto care center for my tires and my oil changes, because they have oil changes that's like 24 bucks and they do it all for you. Now, if you were to do it yourself, it's going to cost you about 30, because you got to buy the oil, you got to buy the filter, you got to buy the equipment if you don't have it to use it. You got to have the oil pan, you got to dispose of it properly. It's just a little bit too much work, and it's better to just outsource that type of thing. And the same thing with the tires. Like, the tires there are relatively cheap. They're like maybe 50, 60 bucks depending on which one you get. And they have warranty, mind you. This is Walmart already. Like, they have a great system for the auto care center. So if you have an auto care center at Walmart, make sure you're utilizing the heck out of it. That was me this morning, actually, which is why I'm bringing up the expenses. So thankfully they open at 7 o'clock in the morning. I went over there. It took me not even 45 minutes because it was lonely. Thankfully, I ended up going on with my day. I only wasted an hour of my day, and that's because convenience of Walmart, which is what makes them great. So back to expenses. You go down to your daily expenses, right? You have your food if you don't meal prep properly. You have your drinks. You got to stay hydrated. You got to drink water. So there's obviously ways around it to minimize the expenses. For example, meal prepping, having someone cook you lunch, like my wife, fortunately. So you don't eat out every day, because that's literally $5 every time you eat, or more nowadays because of inflation. Water, assuming you get it from home, you have a faucet, just use filtered water. Filter it through, fill it up a giant water bottle. I have a big 64 ounce to do it. One of those gets me through the entire day. Man, you're gonna have to find a lot of places to pee. Mind you, this is a side note. You're gonna find a lot of places that you have to pee. That's another tip for Spark drivers, just off topic here. Always know the pee locations. Man, you pee a lot, or at least I do. I drink a lot of water. That's what keeps me going. That's how I prevent headaches, because I'm out in the sun going in and out of the car. I get headaches, so I have to drink water and I have to pee to keep myself hydrated. That's how it works. And now for the biggest expense, gas. My car, fortunately, has this thing where I can see how much I drove that month, and I just divide that by how many miles, or how much miles per gallon my car gets, and then I see how much I wasted that month, and now I set that budget for the next month. So for me, for example, I drive a Prius and I drove 2,000 miles. Let's put a flat number of 2,000 miles. I divide that by 48 and I got whatever mileage, how many gallons I wasted, and now I multiply that by the price of gallon, and that's what I use for the next month. So now I know that I'm gonna spend this much on gas, not including all the other expenses. So that's a really good way for you to see how much you're actually spending on gas, because that is the biggest expense while you're doing a Spark driver. So with that in mind, you have to keep your mileage low. I know sometimes it's tempting to obviously go for the higher mileage because it's a good pay. Obviously take it. This is why you need to use that reference of $2 for every mile that you drive. I don't want to make this video too boring, so here's some B-roll. My day's over. Time to go grocery shopping with the wife. So if you like content like this, make sure you hit that like button.